else that needs to be pointed out, and I know this is specifically geared towards the multifamily, but any of these properties, single family included, can become rental properties. So this is not an issue that we deal with exclusive of multifamily. So when we're looking at crime rates and how it's affected in the rental industry, with the way economy is currently, and if you have people who have money that can invest in properties, this is a time that they're going into to buy properties at this point in time that they can then turn into rentals. So even our single family homes may have the propensity to become Section 8. Any home essentially next door to you could potentially become a Section 8 property. So we need to look at it from an aspect of all families. How can we deal with the crime from a management perspective?
I had a couple questions. How many of the property owners or rental properties have actually gone through this crime-free program?
I have partial in almost all of our properties, as far as the larger properties. Now, when we get into the single family or the duplexes and a lot of our fourplexes where somebody has bought 1 or 2 units and it's owned by 2 or 3 different people, those we're having a hard time getting on board. If we've got somebody who owns a lot of different properties scattered throughout, I've got CJ Realty is on board with us, and they are working with us as a management company that handles a lot of different smaller units throughout the city. We do have apartment owners, for instance, the Autumn Place Apartments right now, they've gone through a transition with management, so I've got 1 of their 4 people on board that have been through the training. Outside of that, I still have additional people because of their transition. So the hardest part about maintaining that training and education is the turnover in the apartment industry, both with ownership and with the employees. So we have to keep on top of that.
Just keep retraining a lot of the same complexes.
You'll retrain the complexes, but throughout the metro area, we have this in place. So, for example, if somebody comes to us that was a manager in Kansas City and they went through the training, they could come to our city already trained. Unfortunately, I haven't had but 1 of those. So, but it's picking up as far as Kansas City has been doing a lot more of it. They now have each one of their zones has officers dedicated full-time to the crime-free program, so that they are exponentially the number of people getting trained is just raising dramatically. But we share that training throughout the metro area because we have 1 attorney who has kindly donated his time and does all of our classes for us. 3 hours of this is on landlord-tenant law. And so we have an attorney that trains managers for 3 hours for free. When he comes in and does this training, we can't expect him to do 4 classes in a week because that's 12 hours of his time. But we rotate it throughout the metro area so that if a manager manages here but lives in Independence, they can go to an Independence class if they wish. And we honor that.
Thank you. There's a lot of very interesting information, and we're going to continue to engage the police department, and I know we're going to discuss Lee Summit's codes probably at the next meeting, but when Lee Summit adopted their new multifamily codes, they worked very closely with their police department to help incorporate safety issues as part of their code. So we appreciate your being here, and we look forward to working with you
Absolutely.
in the future. So thank you for coming. And at this point in time, Michael Parker is going to talk to us a little bit about updating our quotes and form-based codes.
First off, I just wanted to, if anybody's going to be going to the value of design and its effects of our living communities, that's going to be on Lee Summits. It's Marina's doing a presentation on that on, I think it's
June 4th.
June 4th. It's free. Reservation is required. I've been to a couple of her meetings that she's had throughout the area and at the National HBA conventions, and she does an excellent job. I want to kind of start with one of her quotes she has here. It says, "We need to redefine the issues. Development is not the problem. Poor design development is the problem." And I thought that kind of starts us off with kind of what we've been looking at on everything. Before I talk about a couple of the different types of codes that's in our area here, the HBA just sent this over to me as of about an hour before I came here. They've been pulling a lot of information for me, and hopefully with Ms. Rome's permission to have them here on a couple of our meetings to go over different things and help us out on the zoning and our design standards, possibly. They've been extremely instrumental, especially with Lee Summits, which is a close area here, as well as a lot of other metro areas on the design of their codes and zoning. And I thought it's imperative that we have them involved in every aspect we can with this process. But to kind of go off of what Mr. Allen was kind of going over, and I thought was really interesting, the latest information that the HBA has on the consensus of multifamily, and I asked them to break this down not only with the multifamily, but as duplexes, fourplexes, and they went a little, and apartment complexes. They went a little farther. They went 5 to 9 unit complexes, 10 to 19 unit complexes, all the way up to even over 50 units, 50 and over age limit units for senior living. The latest consensus that they had was, I believe, 2003. As far as Blue Springs, they did have a more recent one, which is, I believe, 2006 for this area, but it was done over school districts. And Blue Springs, kind of the percentages on single-family detached, percentage-wise, we're at 70.6%. Single-family attached, which is mainly basically 2 units put together that's utilities are completely separate from each other. We're at 12.3%. Duplexes, which are the utilities are together on that, we're at 1.7%. 3 and 4plex units, we're at 5.5%, and then it gets goes on up to apartment complexes, which are basically at 6.17%. The interesting things that they've put on here for me is with the Kansas City market area, with especially Independence, Blue Springs, and all of Jackson County, we are about the average percent on single-family detached homes. We have twice as many attached single-family, duplex, and condos, which are fourplexes, than the average. We are about half as many apartments than the average. So we do have less apartments than any other cities in the metro area. Two main types of codes that the HBA kind of sets kind of prominent in the Kansas City area right now is form-based codes, and of course conventional codes is what we have now. Form-based codes, it's a method of regulating development to achieve specific urban forms. I don't know if it would be the perfect fit here in Blue Springs. I know that we do have that in the downtown. Form-based codes are just that. They're kind of mainly for specific areas. And to have it as a wide setting for the Blue Springs, you're kind of cramping the architects' creativity and land planners and engineers on their layouts of the facilities, and I don't think that's really what we really would like. As far as conventional codes on Blue Springs, I was kind of reviewing those again. There's absolutely no guidelines that I really saw on design standards for multifamily. Number of lateral attached units, I didn't really see any parts on there, and that's something that HBA was also, we were kind of going over there in the same sense. There's no percentages on that. Number of units per floor, extremely vague on that, and there is no exterior appearances, whether we have one-sided, two-sided, or three-sided architecture. There is nothing on there. Any building material percentages and green space landscape standards, we do have some of that, but it's downtown we definitely do, but as far as multifamily wide, there's nothing.
Well, we have landscape standards regarding buffering in between developments.
Right.
Specifically multifamily.
And that's something that I think we definitely need to take a look at. Also, what we kind of found out is a lot of the cities are going to adding new types of zoning districts for fourplexes. We have duplexes or duplexes now, but we don't have anything for assisted living and any type of T&D developments. We also might want to throw in that, because we are closing things in, is more of the retirement communities, the villas. So we're having the ability to do more clustering with those developments. There might be something we might want to take a look at. It's a good opportunity for us to take a look at.
You're talking about having, because now we have MF14, you're thinking about having a separate code in existence for senior housing.
For senior housing, assisted living is definite. We have one for apartments, but maybe for fourplexes as well, just to kind of separate things out.
So we separate duplexes, we separate, MF14, there's no separate category for fourplexes. Your point's good for the senior housing, because the setbacks and the lot sizes would be different for senior housing versus, typical, fourplex or twoplex, so it's a great idea.
A couple other things will be kind of
Does Lee Summit have, or do they have form-based codes in their new,
from what I understand, no. They might have it for downtown. But as far as the multifamily at a city base, no. The interesting thing, like you said, on Lee Summit, not only was it was all first responders were really involved with the design of the new codes for multifamily. Especially with lighting on the larger apartment complexes, which are Class A, which we really don't have here in Blue Springs. Look at the local call centers within the facilities and for safety and different things of that nature. And they were extremely instrumental on lighting and everything, especially breezeways and whatnot. So that's something we definitely need to have them involved in every aspect we can. And I think you were talking possibly a field trip we might have on a couple of apartment complexes.
We'll get into that in a moment, but at our next meeting, we're going to be going over Lee Summit's codes that they just adopted last year, and sometime we're going to have a field trip to probably look at some of the multifamily that has been built under the codes, and hopefully set up some kind of a tour so that you can look at it. They can point out the features and the things that are different. So anybody who wants to go, let me know, but we're going to try and do a little field trip all the way to Lee Summit, Missouri, and probably look at, the nice thing is they adopted their new codes a year ago, so they've had a little bit of time to tweak it and work on it. It's just not newly adopted. So at our next meeting, that's going to be something we're going to look over. Staff's going to look over the Lee Summit codes and see what parts of it might work for our codes and what parts we might want to add additional information. I know Mr. Allen has been already hard at work researching codes and different kinds of categories. And so I know you'll have some information ready to bring forward in 2 weeks when we meet.
And if anybody wants her phone number, depending on that, I'll have it up here. You guys can take the phone number down and give them a call.
Lee Summit will also be having a SecTed training for both basic and advanced. Advanced is more dealing with codes and that sort of thing. That'll be June and July, just so that you know that it's coming out, if anybody's interested.
Great, thank you. Dr. David Browse, you had some school data that you were going to share with us from the school district. Did you have a handout up to Jarvis for us?
I do for you guys. I did.
We got it ready in our books to insert it, so
Okay.
kind of
And
get our books working.